So now we're going to talk about libraries. So what exactly is a library and why are we dealing with it? We already talked about what a function is. R by default comes with many functions that have been written and accepted as part of the general R package, the things that they think are essential to any statistician who needs to use R. That said, just like any programming community, not everyone has the same needs. So I personally study language. So the kind of tools I need to study language aren't going to be the same as the tools someone needs to study working memory, like Professor Conway. So instead of bogging down R with all the functions that everyone could ever want, R makes available libraries so it's easy to download them into your R console and then to import them whenever you need them. So you don't have to, once you download them, you don't have to have them loading every time you open R. You can say, okay, I'm doing language stuff today, so I need to import the language package. So that's the purpose of libraries. So I'm just going to go ahead and clear my console, and we're going to just download a library together. So for this course, we're going to need a library called Psych. So Psych has a lot of functions that help people do general psychological research. The first thing you need to do to get a library is to download it. So how do you do that? So Professor Conway showed you this, but the function to get a new package is install.packages. Notice the S, packages. And then the argument is whatever the name of the package is. So R doesn't know that psych stands for something. It doesn't know that psych should be a variable. So you have to put it within quotes. So as far as it knows is psych is just a random string of letters. So it's install.packages, and then whatever the name of the package is, put it in quotes inside the parentheses. And then you hit enter. And it might take a minute, but you'll either have a window pop up like this, in Mac it does this, in RStudio and in other platforms, it might pop up in the console, so don't be confused. But if you're in Mac, you can just scroll and pick one. I always pick the one closest to me, so I'll pick one of the Pennsylvania ones, and since I'm in New Jersey, and then hit OK. If you're the kind where it pops up in a console, you'll have to type in the number corresponding to which one you want. But hopefully that's not too hard to figure out. Then I hit OK. You might have to wait a minute, but it's going to try to download it. And if you're successful, you should see this little bar filling up. Some packages, when you install them, actually install multiple packages. I'll just show you how that looks. So the language package I like to use for my research is Language R. And this one downloads multiple packages and installs them at the same time. So let me just show you what that looks like. I already picked my mirror, so it's just going on ahead. And you can see it needs to install this package, LME4. And then it had to do Language R in general. If you were successful, you should see the downloaded binary packages are in some scary long folder. So now that I've downloaded a library, you might think, all right, I downloaded a Psych library. Let me get started. I need to use describe. That's in Psych library. So let me describe that fake data I made earlier. Error, could not find function describe. So if you see this error message, it just means one of three things. Either one, there is no function called describe. Two, there is a function, but you mistyped it. Maybe it's describe. Option three is this function exists, it's spelled this way, but it's in a library you forgot to load. What do I mean by loading a library? So what we've done so far is just download the library. Because we downloaded it, none of these packages are going to into R by default when we open R. So how do you import a library? To do that, you use a function. It's called library, and the single argument to library is the name of the library you want to open. This time you don't need quotes because it already has downloaded Psych, and as part of downloading it, it now knows that the variable Psych stands for that library. So I can hit enter, and it looks like nothing happened, but what actually did happen was R took all the functions that are within Psych and brought them in so that now if I type describe, I'm actually just going to show you what happens if I call it with no arguments. Before it was yelling at me because describe didn't exist. Now it's yelling at me because I didn't put the argument in that I needed for describe. So now if I run describe, giving it what it actually wants, a variable that represents data, it works. So what to keep in mind is if you find a function you need to use, but it's in a library, first use install.packages to download the library. And then every time you want to use it, make sure you either type into the console library psych, or I'm going to recommend every time you write a script, you just put all the libraries you need at the top of the script. So that's what we're going to do when we go through Professor Conway's script, is you'll notice he always puts his libraries at the top. So you might be wondering, why can't I just have R do this for me every time I open it? You can. I would recommend, if you really don't want to deal with this ever again, to just Google how to set the default libraries in R, whatever your platform is. I'm not going to show you how because I think it's a really bad practice. So imagine that you're trying to teach someone else how to do these things. You want to provide them with some of the things you've written in this class to teach them some stats. So you just send them off their script and forgot to tell them that you have library psych checked as a default. And so your friend is trying to run describe and can't figure out why they can't find it. And really the onus is on you then. It's because you made the choice to default it to save yourself some time that now someone else in a different situation can't use your script. We want our scripts to be as generalizable as possible.